Okay, we're looking at making tables again. I just wanted to flip this back up onto the screen so you can see it. I might have even showed you this one. -4 plus 1/2 x. Remember what we do. We get to pick, and of course I only have the fave 5 up here, but you don't have to pick the fave 5. I pick one of these numbers and I put it in for x. So 1/2 times -2, if you need to grab your calculator, you can, but you should be able to know that 1/2 times -2 is -1, and then -1 plus -4 is -5. So if you put -2 into the equation, -5 comes out. I know it's hard to see there, but that's your first value in your table. And then you keep doing this. You put -1 in for x. 1/2 times -1 is -1/2. So then you add -4, you get -4.5. You put it in, out comes, you put in -1, out comes -4.5. 0 goes in. 0 times 1/2 is 0. 0 plus -4 is -4. And then you put it in. All right? Then I go with 1. 1 times 1/2 is 1/2. -4 plus 1/2 is -3.5. And then you put 2 in for x. 2 times 1/2 is 1. 1 plus -4 is -3. And there you have your table. Okay? That's what you're going to be doing today. I know we were playing a game, but we don't have our tables down well enough to really play that game effectively. All right? I still have the points. Don't worry. Okay, so this will help strengthen that. So what you're going to do is if I give you an equation like 2x minus 5, I'm still going to let you put your own values in. Okay, so most of you are going to pick the fave 5. You're going to put in a -2. That means you put -2 in for x. So 2 times -2 minus 5. Well, let me work that out. That's -4 minus 5, which is -9. And you need to know your math skills really well in order to be able to do this. Okay? Then I go ahead, I can pick another number. I'm going to pick -1. Oh, I wonder why I picked -1, because I love my fave 5. So 2 times -1 minus 5. So now I have -2 minus 5, which is -7. All right? Then I go ahead and put in my 0. 0 times 2 is 0. 0 minus 5 is -5. Okay? And if I had to write that all out, this is what it would look like. All right. Most of us are seeing a pattern. -9, -7, -5. If I put in 1, 1 times 2 is 2. 2 minus 5 is -3. 2 times 2 is 4. 4 minus 5 is -1. Or you can pattern it out. A lot of us are not even going to have to do that. You know why? Because you're doing the fave 5. You're doing what I call the trick for linear equations. This trick only works on linear equations. 0 means your y-intercept. See if we remember that after all that Thanksgiving turkey. So 0 times -5, or 0 means my y-intercept is -5. I have a slope of 2. So if I wanted to, I could just say -5 plus 2 is -3. -3 plus 2 is -1. Continue my pattern, and I would still have the same graph, or same table. Okay? But here's what's going to happen today. You're going to do that a lot. You're hopefully going to get that down pat. Get that down pat. And then you're going to see equations like this. That is not in slope-intercept form, and yet you still have to make a table. Okay? Here is my #1 suggestion. Granted, you can put your fave 5 in there, and then you can solve it 5 times, or find a pattern after about 3 times. Here's my suggestion, because you're going to have to do it later anyway. This is called standard form. We're going to study that a little more on Wednesday. But I would say solve for y. Let's make it look like what we're used to looking at. If I want to solve for y, then I'm going to have to subtract 2x from both sides. Okay? So minus 2x and minus 2x. Here's the thing though. I cannot take 12 minus 2x. They're not like terms. So I just write out 12 minus 2x. Now we're going to, y is still not by itself, so I have to divide by 6, divide by 6, divide by 6. So now y is equal to 2 minus, and always reduce, so I have 1/3 x. Okay? So you can go ahead and you can work with your Fave 5. You can work with different numbers if you'd like. I'm going to do Fave 5. This is not going to be the most beautiful table we've ever made. Okay? I'm going to put -2, -1, 0, 1, and 2. If I were to do the shortcut, I would have a y-intercept of 2. Okay, because 0 goes with 2. My slope is -1/3. Okay? So I'm going to have to go 2 minus 1/3, which is 1 and 2/3. And then I would have to subtract 1/3 again. See how it gets kind of ugly? So 1 and 2/3 minus 1/3 is going to be 1 and 1/3. All right? 1 and 1/3, 1 and 2/3, 2. And if I wanted to go, I would be actually adding 1/3 if I go the other way. So I have 2 and 1/3, 2 and 2/3. Your other option is to just put -2 in. You're like, I can't figure out that math. That's too crazy, Mrs. Talley. Well, then put -2 in here. All right, so it's actually 2 minus 1/3 times -2. So then you would go to your calculator. Hopefully you wouldn't have to, but you might. You would take -1/3 times -2, and you get positive 2/3, and you still have to add 2 to that. Well, what's 2 plus 2 or 2 plus 2/3 is 2 and 2/3, which is the number that's across from -2. Okay, let's try another one. Let's take 5x minus y is equal to 10. Okay, this is not in slope-intercept form. It is in standard form. Okay, what I'm suggesting you do is let's get this thing into slope-intercept form. I'm going to get y by itself, so subtract 5x. So I get -y, don't forget that negative, equals 10 minus 5x. I need to switch my signs because I do not like having a negative y, so I change it to a positive y, then I have a -10, then I have a positive 5x. Or you can think of that as multiplying by -1 or technically dividing by -1. It gets me the same thing. Just switch, switch, switch is my preference. All right, well now it's a slope-intercept form. Now I can make my table. I'm going with the Fave 5 again. I can go ahead and look at this, hopefully, and say my y-intercept is -10. And if you're like, I don't know what to do after that, Mrs. Talley, then you go ahead and you take this -2 and you plug it in right here. 5 times -2 is -10. -10 plus -10 is -20. Okay, if you're like, I don't know what to do now, put -1 in. So now I'm going to put -1 in for x. 5 times -1 is -5, plus -10 is -15. -20, -15, -10, -5, if you can follow the pattern, and 0. If not, then I need to put 2 into the problem. 2 times 5 is 10, 10 plus -10 is 0. I could do problem after problem after problem, but I'm going to have to stop for you at this time. This will be enough to get you through your assignment. Don't come in saying you don't know how to do it. Okay, there should be plenty of information there to help you figure that out. And we also have study hall on Tuesday.